What is up, guys? So welcome to the second Q&A on the channel. This time around we haven't gotten quite as many questions, but a lot of the questions are kind of like two-parters and they're a lot more detailed, so I'll get through them with as much detail as I see fit. So without further ado, let's just get into the Q&A. This first question is, who are your favorite film critics? I would assume you mean on YouTube because I don't really read film reviews. I mean, I read letterboxd reviews, but I watch reviews on YouTube. So my favorite film critics my favorite one would probably be Chris Stuckman. He was kind of the first one that I started watching properly, and out of all the film reviewers on YouTube that I watch, I have the most similar taste to him. I guess I also have a pretty similar taste to like Bailey from Breaking Banter, but I watch pretty much everyone that everyone else watches, really. Jeremy Jahns, Beyond the Trailer, all the rest of them, Ralph the Movie Maker, all the rest of them. They're all pretty great. I agree with them, and sometimes I disagree with them, but I enjoy all the videos. But I would probably say my favorite movie reviewer is Chris Stuckman. Second question is, okay, it's a two-parter. If you were to write and direct a historical film or period piece drama, where would you set it, excluding a Western setting? That's part one of the question. I would either want to do like an absolute epic samurai film, because we just don't really get those anymore. Similar to like the Kurosawa films and stuff like that. It would just be so fun. And obviously, I would love to do a Western, but I'm not allowed to do a Western in this question. So I think the reason I would want to do a samurai film would be because if you know samurai films well and you know Westerns well, then you know that these two genres in many ways are the exact same and the exact opposite. And I would love to explore that, really. It would be a lot of fun, and it could make for some really, really great moments on film. I would also love to do a movie in sort of the golden age of Hollywood in the 50s and 60s, because I just love movies about movies, and I would love to do sort of like a romanticization of that time period, similar to films like Hail Caesar or Cafe Society, that show it in a really beautiful light, but at the same time show the kinds of the ins and outs of what it was actually like back in the day. And that's partly why I'm so excited to see the new Fincher film, Mank, with Gary Oldman, about the writer of Citizen Kane. Just to see a film about a film, and to make a film about a film, or a film about filmmakers, I think would be absolutely awesome. And the second part of this question would be, which is better to write/film, knife and hand-to-hand fight, or gunfight? I would say a knife fight or a hand-to-hand fight has more dynamism to it. It has more energy to it. You can do more with it. As opposed to a gunfight, which is really, really hard to do in my opinion, because number one, not everyone works on the same level as like the John Wick team, and so for me, where I have not a lot of money to make these shorts, I kind of have to do it in a way that feels less like I have to focus basically when I'm doing my gunfights more on the tension building, the suspense, the editing, the performances, than the actual gunfight. There's not a lot of actual shooting. There's a lot of build-up, there's a lot of suspense. Whereas with a knife fight or a hand-to-hand combat fight, we choreograph it properly, we perform it properly, and it turns out pretty well, in my opinion. So I would probably say that's easier and more fun to do. Whereas gunfights, at this stage in my kind of filmmaking journey, is a bit harder. But it's also fun. I think it's gunfights are always more fun to do in the edit, in my opinion. Again, that's my opinion. Next questions. Has your top 5 films changed since last Q&A? If so, how? Not really. I'd say Inception and Whiplash still up there, up top, my top 2 favorites. And then the Lord of the Rings trilogy, American Psycho, The Prestige, and The Dark Knight. And then the Star Wars saga. And then Lion King, the original one, obviously. And then Casino Royale. And then 10 to 15, they're all kind of joint. I've got Inglourious Bastards, American Beauty, Social Network, The Departed, and La La Land. So they're all kind of joint. And do you actively seek out information on film craft? If so, what, where, who, etc.? Yeah, I mean, I guess I do. I watch a lot of kind of behind-the-scenes stuff and directors' interviews. I often find the Hollywood Reporters Roundtable stuff is really, really helpful to any filmmakers. Not just the director's side, but like the producers, the actors, the cinematographers are always really fun to watch. And obviously I watch video essays, which are always really helpful. But for me, obviously, in my opinion, the most helpful stuff in terms of craft are just watching films. I watch 3 films a day on average. and I learn a lot. You know, I feel like it's one of those, like, it's like Karate Kid, where it's like in the whole like wax on, wax off, take your jacket on, take your jacket off thing, where you watch so many films, and by the time you actually get to start making films, you don't realize how much you've actually absorbed, and you just kind of have this library of film knowledge that really actually helps. And there would be moments in some of my films where I'm watching it, or when I'm making it, and I'm like kind of like subconsciously being influenced by another film, and I don't realize it until like a friend points it out. So, for example, there's this one scene in my film Unforgettable, and I did not realize how similar it was to a scene from Live by Night, and a friend had to point that out, and I was like, oh yeah, I was probably subconsciously influenced by that film. So I would say watching films is kind of my most frequent way of kind of learning the craft. Next question is, do you think you will up the production value / incorporate more set design for standard review videos, or all videos giving the new following you have? Or do you want to stick to your roots and continue exactly as? Well, I think if I'm doing video essays, my face, the setting won't be in it as much. When I'm doing just normal film reviews, yeah, I mean, I think it depends on where I am, whether I'm here or whether I'm in the UK, and how much I'm actually allowed to customize. Because I'm pretty proud of this set that I have, all my collectibles and some films and stuff. I'm pretty proud of that. And if it's here, I'm probably not going to change too much. But if I'm in the UK, then I might consider like maybe upping the production value or something. So I guess it's yes and no. I've also got this extra question that says, try to do your best American accent. Now, I can do 3 relatively decent impressions of characters. I can do Patrick Bateman pretty well. I can do Jordan Belfort. I've been told I can do Jordan Belfort pretty well. I'll show you a clip just now of drunk me doing a Jordan Belfort impression.
Name of the company, Aerotine International. The cutting-edge, high-tech firm located out in the Midwest, producing radar detectors for both government and civilian applications now. Right now, John, stock price is 60 cents a share, and our analysts indicated go a heck of a lot higher than that.
So that's your American accent. And I can do Brad Pitt from Inglourious Bastards, and I guess DiCaprio from Django Unchained a little bit, but not that well. And maybe I'll in a future video I'll do those, but for now you get the Wolf of Wall Street one. So guys, that is my Q&A for today. Thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, stay tuned for more videos to come. Thank you so much for watching as always. Thank you.